One.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Glorious Reacts. Before we begin, I would like to introduce ourselves. I am your friend from Down Under, Arnold, and I am joined by the thriller from Manila, Joel. Say hi, Joel.
Hey guys, what's up?
And our very own Singapore sling, Paul. Say hi, Paul.
Hey guys.
Paul's perfect.
Adding
done.
some heat to his reading.
To his intro. Well done, well done. The Suicide Squad continues to fill our screens with rats, polka dots, and lots of gratuitous bloodshed in between for a while now. So it's a good time we complete the discussion with our own full reactions. Join us in this episode as we try to tease out meaningful conversation from this joyous mess from the beautifully horrible mind of James Gunn. We will again revisit what we liked and disliked and talk specifics of the film. This is a good point to inform you. This is a good point in introduction to inform you, dear audience, that this is not a spoiler-free episode, and that we will be talking directly about events that occur in the movie, most of which will be revealing key story elements. If you have not watched The Suicide Squad and would like to remain unspoiled, please stop here and come back once you've watched the movie. Let's go right to it. I believe Joel has prepared for us a pretty good recap. So take it away, Joel.
Thank you, Arnold. So anyway, I'll go with the recap. This is going to be short, I hope. Okay, so James Gunn's The Suicide Squad pits Amanda Waller's expendable Task Force X, a group of villains who have been volunteered against their will to be part of the squad, against an unknown threat in the island country of Corto Maltese. Rick Flag leads a team composed of Harley Quinn, Savant, Captain Boomerang, Mongal, Blackguard, Weasel, Javelin, and the TDK to try and infiltrate the Cuba stand-in country, only to be ratted out, preemptory pun intended, by Blackguard, who told the Corto Maltese government about their arrival and helped set up an ambush. While their team is under fire, a second, more covert team composed of Bloodsport, Peacemaker, Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher 2, and King Shark sneak in on the opposite shore. As Team 2 makes its way deeper into the island, they're told by Waller to retrieve Flag, who had been abducted by a military group. Long story short, since I'm sure we're going to talk at length about it during this episode, they make short work of Flag's abductors, who turn out to be a guerrilla rebel group out to overthrow the military regime that had taken over the country. The team works together with the rebels, or whoever was left, and apprehend Thinker, who was going to bring them to Jotunheim, the main target of the team. Along the way, they pick up Harley, who stormed her way out of the royal palace, where she was kept as a guest/prisoner in the span of a day. At Jotunheim, teammates become opponents as it is revealed that Peacemaker had been given another objective by Waller: to make sure that no evidence of US intervention make it to the light of day. Peacemaker and Flag duke it out as the main big baddie/kaiju of the movie, Starro the Conqueror, not to be confused with Jarro, the pet/new Robin of Batman in the comics, breaks free of his containment. All hell breaks loose with several of Task Force X showing acts of heroism against incredible odds. In the end, the most despised of all creatures make good on their purpose. And that's my recap.
Excellent. Perfect recap. Perfect.
Bravo,
ending.
bravo.
So let's
Short.
go straight. It's as short as it gets. It is a freaking movie. Let's go straight into our likes. So I put in. We'll be revisiting some of our likes from our raw reacts, and then try to expand on them. And I believe we started off with Paul the previous time we were talking about this movie. So let's start with Paul again.
Okay. So I actually in the notes, thank you Arnold for just copy pasting the previous episode. I did not even edit the notes because I already know what I'm gonna say. So the cast, amazing. The choices for each character, I loved every single one of them.
Yep.
And I was okay. So what I want to focus here is actually the cinematography. So there are two scenes which I love the cinematography. One is the intro, where the camera zooms in to all the dead bodies at the beach after the
Yes.
ambush takes place.
Yep.
It was so well done. And then the other cinematography I'm talking about is when they actually try to rescue Flag, and Flag and Peacemaker have this ongoing rivalry.
Bloodsport.
Oh, sorry.
Bloodsport.
Not Flag. Peacemaker and
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport have this ongoing rivalry of who kills the
More.
Is it kills more or kills
Both.
better?
Both. It was
Okay.
more and
Because
the cooler way.
the cooler way of
Yeah.
killing. It was
Because of it.
so well done. And then at the end, which was, I guess we can call it dark humor, when they open the curtain and find out that they're not supposed to be killing the people outside because they're actually allies of Flag. It was actually the whole thing was so hysterical. It was so funny. I love that. That's my favorite part of the movie, of the whole movie. And so and because I mentioned cinematography, it comes down to direction. So people will say that they like David Ayer's version of the Suicide Squad, and some people will say
Nobody's
they like.
ever seen David Ayer's cut of the Suicide Squad.
Oh yes, because of intervention and all of that. But yeah, so I think that I like this more, but then I'm coming from. I guess it's because it's a little bit Marvelized. I don't know if that's a term we can use if James Gunn is helming it, because there's a signature
Yes.
way of how James Gunn does his movies, and it seems like he's imparted that here.
Yep.
And it seems like that's also the direction Marvel was going with when they did Guardian. So there's some similarities, and I love them both. And the only difference is I guess definitely in Guardians of the Galaxy, they said you can do this, but this is your limit. Here there was no limit, so he was free to do as he pleased, and it's wonderful. It was just out of this world.
So I totally agree with the fact that it's kind of hard to separate James Gunn's the Guardians of the Galaxy effect or no mark on this movie, and you could actually even say that depending on which one came first, one would be affected by the other. So it's quite possible that if the Suicide Squad came out before we ever did see Guardians of the Galaxy, it could be very well be that the reaction of people is, wow, that's the Suicide Squad, right? It's hard to but I agree with what you're saying. It's very hard to separate the look and feel, because they're somewhat similar in that regard. At least at the very least the comedy as well.
Yeah, I've got to say though that I will have to say that the Suicide Squad is actually closer to what Gunn actually does, because he also did, and I'm just looking at his filmography, he also did Super, which starred Rainn Wilson. It's also a superhero movie, and that also was very unforgivingly bloody, especially in the end.
He does like gratuitous. He likes the gore. He does like the gore. But definitely you can see bits and pieces of that everywhere. It's just that Guardians of the Galaxy is extremely popular.
Yeah.
Well, he made it popular. We have to be fair.
That is quite true. Yes, that is quite true, because these are characters that not a lot of people were familiar.
That's why the comparison is there, because they're both B
level
list.
characters.
Yeah, D list. Yeah, D level, D list characters.
You do, although I guess it's interesting to find out. So in the Suicide Squad, the expectation was very low in terms of actually setting up anything, because there is nothing to set up. people are not expecting it to have like a Suicide Squad 2 because everybody tends to die. Whereas Guardians of the Galaxy was actually a crucial puzzle to the entirety of the first the first
phases.
3 phases of
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
but it
Marvel
was
MCU.
it was weird though. In the first Suicide Squad, hardly anyone died.
Yeah.
Oh
That's
yeah,
true.
that's true. Yeah.
That's true.
We did point out that it was only El Diablo, and we still have not figured out the name
Rope Master, good God.
of the other
Anyway,
guy
yeah.
who died the moment he showed up. I have to say, I'll leave that to my likes. I guess I'll have to leave that to my likes. We'll look for that instead of you, Jewel. So you start with your likes. I'll look for that
Oh.
character.
Oh, is Paul done with his next?
Yep, he's
Yes.
done.
Yes. Yeah.
That was fast, man.
But yep. Concise.
Straight
He's
to
getting
the
better,
point.
ladies and gentlemen. He's getting better.
Yeah. This is gonna be a 20-minute episode.
I doubt
Anyway.
it.
All right. So just like Paul, I did actually really like the characters. For me, I think that one of the main differences between, of course, you can't help but compare it, Ayer's Suicide Squad with this with Gunn's Suicide Squad, is the fact that Gunn I think was better able to let us sympathize with the characters. Except of course for Peacemaker, all throughout. Maybe if you're a certain type of person, you would sympathize with someone like Peacemaker. But yeah, the rest of the characters, it was easy to sympathize with them. You saw their backstory. It was either told through flashbacks, or you could just. It was easy it was easy to see it in both the direction and the performance of the actors. I mean, Polka Dot Man. The guy is such a wimp as a villain, but because of the performance of I forget the name of the actor, because of his performance, you can't help but feel sorry for him, especially with the way that he looks, and then especially with those big multicolored pimples that grow out of his face.
Yep.
It was so easy to sympathize with him. Yeah, and then yeah, you also have I have to say that I did. For me, the highlight of the entire film was that attack on the retrieval of Rick Flag at the Rebel base. I couldn't stop, but I couldn't stop laughing during that sequence. Kind of sort of tells what kind of person I am. But yeah, the
You have sick
comedy
humor.
and-
You have sick humor.
the kind of humor that that I have. I couldn't stop laughing, and then as I was actually making the recap a while ago, that competition between Bloodsport and Peacemaker sort of reminded me of the competition between Gimli and Legolas. You know, who can kill
Yes.
more.
Yes.
It
Just-
ended up something
Just
like that.
it's actually quite bloody. Yeah, you're right. It's just very
Yeah.
far away, and then you're killing orcs instead.
Yeah. So it's easier. I guess it's easier to
Justify it.
to justify it because they're orcs. They're
Yeah.
supposed to be bad people.
Exactly.
But you don't quite notice. But the most laughs that I had during that sequence was really that sequence where Peacemaker was just walking casually, brings out an axe, and then just starts hacking at this
Poor
guy
dude
who's
was sleeping.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
It's like,
That was just, I don't know, it's weird, but it was so funny. I really love how James Gunn made full use, like Paul said, he had no limits. He made really good use of the R rating. He was able to maximize it as best he could. Not just, of course, by making it gory, but making it funnily gory. I don't know if that's a thing.
yes.
Right? Yeah. So it was really cool. And speaking of cool, Bloodsport, man. Bloodsport was the man for me. It was so much better. It was so much better than having Deadshot. Although we did see that some pre-prod designs had Deathstroke as the supposedly the Bloodsport character, but I
Yes.
think that having Bloodsport as that character was really cool because of all of that, those knickknacks that he had all over his armor that turned into
His
weapons. It
tech.
I
was so
really
cool.
liked how they represented his ability to teleport his
Yeah,
weapons by it being connected to his armor.
to his armor.
And he pulls it
And
out.
then it added to that whole tension in the end when he didn't have
He
any
was
more
tapping.
left.
Actually,
He was tapping
didn't have any
weapons.
more
he had
left.
none.
Yeah,
He ended
and that added to the tension there, and it was really cool. And yeah, the the storytelling was really top notch for me. This goes to James Gunn being a really good storyteller.
Yeah.
Of course, the first misdirect of who the real protagonist is. We all think that it was going to be Savant because he was really highlighted. He's the first thing that you see.
Yeah.
You see Savant, and then you see how cool he is by bouncing that ball all over the cell and then just hitting that
that single
that
that yellow bird.
single yellow bird, the canary.
Yep.
And you really saw how cool it was, and then it got to the point that okay, it's a misdirect.
Yeah.
And this movie had a lot of misdirects.
Yep.
The first 10
Yeah.
minutes was like a misdirect. My goodness.
The entire thing was a misdirect. So yeah, it really goes to show that James Gunn, these guys really weren't taking things too seriously. They were having fun making the film. They were having fun telling the story. Because we have. I mean, again, comparing it to the previous Suicide Squad, I can't really call it Tire Suicide Squad. I thought that was a movie that took itself too seriously.
Quite.
This film didn't take itself too seriously. They were just having fun. And yeah, just one of my notes here. Just a quick observation that one of the torture of Harley actually looked a lot like what Will Smith looked like when he was playing Deadshot, bald with that beard.
Oh yeah. With the,
Yeah. So and then here comes Robbie Margot killing him.
Robbie Margot.
Yeah, and yeah, it reminded us how badass Harley is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Despite being
think-
such a like a character you wouldn't take seriously.
Yeah, and then yeah, and especially I'm not sure. I didn't quite like Birds of Prey. So and then the Harley being exposed, Harley Quinn or even Margot Robbie was beginning to become overexposed as Harley Quinn. But the way that James Gunn treated the character in this film, the way that he was able to highlight her and still show a lot of the other
Yeah.
kooky side
Yep.
and the other characters, it really brought back Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn as a powerhouse in the DC film universe. No?
I was actually kind of worried that she would end up overshadowing most of the characters. Remember in the 2016 Suicide Squad, there was only really Will Smith's name that was like a highlight, big ticket.
Yeah.
Whereas in this one, you've got a lot of characters that have
It's such an ensemble.
very
Such an
very
ensemble.
big names, and I was kind of worried about how, Harley Quinn being the most established one of all the characters that was being brought into this film, that she would somehow, and it didn't feel right for me that this would turn into a Harley Quinn movie.
A Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that was pretty good. Yeah.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well
Yeah.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of cinematography, like what Paul said, I really love that one sequence of the fight between Peacemaker and Flag that was
Oh,
reflected on the
yeah.
helmet.
Yeah.
That was such a cool
yeah.
device to use.
Yeah. Yeah.
We hardly ever do see that, but then again, we hardly ever have a prop like the toilet seat of
Beacon of Justice.
Peacemaker's helmet.
Shiny toilet.
Yeah,
And it was
that
interesting
shiny
because
toilet
what did he call it? It's a beacon of justice or beacon of peace?
Beacon of
Liberty.
Oh, liberty. Okay.
Okay. I was thinking, did he say peace?
I
beacon
just assumed
Beacon of Liberty.
because of
Beacon
his
Liberty.
disease was in his name. And remember how he lives by, doing anything in order for not just peace, but American peace. And the fact that the fighting was happening across the helmet, that was the representation of that, was very indicative of what that there was a hidden message there of what was going on, which is pretty very interesting to talk about if we wanted to. But yeah, no, definitely, there's a lot of visual elements.
That, and I think, and I really loved especially that last line that Flag delivered to Peacemaker. What he said, Peacemaker, what a joke, right? That was his line.
That was it. Yeah, what a joke.
Peacemaker, what a joke. That was such a good piece of acting from Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah.
And not only that, from John Cena's character, his reaction to that.
Yes.
You clearly know he knows what he's doing. He knows. I mean, the Peacemaker character knows what he's doing, knows what he's lost, knows that in order to achieve this mission, this secondary mission that was given to him, he has sacrificed something. And I would like. This is one of the things I actually want to talk about when we get to my likes. So please continue.
Yeah. So I really like it, and it's gonna go into a little bit into expectations, but I do like the fact that it was there because it can now form, especially also that, and then what he told Ratcatcher, why kill me? Because I'm thorough.
Yes.
That plus his last conversation with Flag, it can really form seeds. It can really be seeds for how his own spin-off series is gonna go.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's going to be. He's gonna have a lot of those things on his mind. Right? We into the lead up to the fight between Peacemaker and Flag. You can really see that he actually did respect Flag.
Yes.
Yep.
He did call him sir.
Yeah, he called him sir. So he knew that Flag was also he was also fighting for peace.
Yep. He represented.
They were almost on the same level. It's just that he was willing to go somewhere extra, just to make sure that the U.S. comes off clean.
Yeah, that the mission takes precedence all the time because of what it represents. Okay, cool. That's awesome. In my likes, I only had one the last time when we had the Raw reacts, which is pretty much I was just in shock. It was shock and awe for me, and it really worked. Like I said, the first 10 minutes was a red herring, and then suddenly you have this small group of. Because I was asking myself, how will they be able to fit so many known characters in a film? And then and then obviously the title did not. I should have figured it out in the title, and right. And then that's the best way. And it was James Gunn, obviously. Killed him off. So we were joking even that Javelin didn't even get to throw his javelin.
No.
But he did have that nice moment with Harley, and his javelin did manage to survive all the way until the end of the movie.
Yeah.
His golden javelin. And everybody else gets blown to bits. I was super surprised that if this is the group that gets killed off, why is Flag and Harley Quinn in it? And obviously they survived, so they found a way. But yeah, the cast was literally expendable. They did not waste any time establishing that and making good of that promise. And that was fun. It set the tone, it set the mood. You were right about saying that, hey, in the beginning we have a good focus straight off the bat with Michael Rooker, and we were wondering if he's going to be, and he doesn't even survive long enough. Right? I really like the extra tidbit there. The attention to detail in this movie is pretty awesome. I like the extra tidbit there that in the end, after so obviously Savant goes AWOL, too much bloodshed for even his taste. Runs up, tries to swim away, paddles away, and then his head gets blown off. And what is it that actually starts pecking on? I don't even think that kind of bird is carnivorous.
No,
it's
karma.
It's karma. It's probably his brother's brother, and he decided, hey, this is the guy who actually offed my brother, and I'm gonna start pecking on his brains. Love it. I actually really enjoyed. You were talking about cinematography. I actually kind of enjoyed the Harley twin escape.
Yeah.
Because it was very flowery, I mean, quite literally very flowery. You would have expected this to be one of the bloodiest portions of the film because she was just going. It was as if something just turned off in her brain, right? And just went all perfect soldier and started killing everybody so efficiently and so quickly. But instead of blood everywhere, you have like nice flowers. Because I don't know what they were trying to establish in that particular scene, but it looked really, really nice. I totally agree with what you've already set this up, Joel. I totally agree that Bloodsport character was way better than the Deadshot character. There was a lot of parallels, but even those parallelisms were tweaked, were changed. We have a daughter, but their relationship was horrible.
Yep.
Right? And we have a father figure who was not willing initially do everything for his daughter, but in the end he does. Right? He unwittingly becomes father of the year to an extent. And his father and the daughter was actually quite proud of seeing him stand up against the kaiju.
Yeah.
Right? And this comes to the relationship building in the story. So, interestingly, in a group that is expected to all die, we have a significant amount of character development between Group 2, Team 2. All right? So, this is the one between Ratcatcher 2, Polka Dot Man, King Shark, of all people.
Milton.
And Milton. I actually have a special call out for Milton here. But there was a lot of, and then obviously Peacemaker and Rick Flag. There was Bloodsport.
And even Flag and Harley.
There was a lot of relationship building in that bar. Even the rat got a drink. He was so nice. What was his name?
Sebastian the Rat.
Sebastian the Rat. Yeah.
Played by Crisp Rat.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's what they named the rat. Crisp Rat.
Oh, Crisp Rat. Okay. Maybe it was an actual rat, as in the actual trained mice.
They did.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Practical effect.
It was. You thought that, okay, they're gonna just show up, they're gonna do their thing, they're gonna die trying, or you're gonna succeed, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But now there's relationship building. It makes that point in the movie that you were highlighting, where Peacemaker reveals that his mission is a lot more important than any of the relationships he's built, even more poignant. You do, and it also highlights how, that's why I noted how I think John Cena's acting in that particular part of the film was very, very almost matched the one from Rick Flags, was because you can see the pain in both situations when he was deciding that he needs to kill these characters that he's built relationships with. Even Nanaue, I think he even built some sort of relationship with Nanaue, because you remember that section where they were planting the C4 and Nanaue,
and then Nanaue shows him
the C4 doll.
It's
the C4 doll.
Exactly. And he was like, God damn it, focus. But you could see, this was during the rewatch, so I already know what's gonna happen. But you could still, I think there was a hint of, he knows that he needs to, that his mission will be more important, and he will have to decide on throwing all of these people under the bus. It kind of hurt him. Which brings us to Milton. Milton was just the dude who was supposed to drive them to town, but somehow he decides to hang around.
Yeah.
I mean, who in their right mind? Right? But yeah, he was cool.
Hang around. Thinker was already driving them into Jotunheim. What was Milton still doing with the team?
He joined the walk. He was part of the walk. So I was like, right, okay. And he didn't really have a lot of speaking lines, right?
I don't think he talked with any of them. At least we didn't see him talk with any of them. He spoke with the people at the gate. At the gate, and then at the front of the bar. Oh yeah, he did. When he said, "This is the place." That was his
That
only.
was his own but no, apparently, because he wasn't even part of the drinking session inside. He was standing.
No, he
was
wasn't
outside.
No,
there.
he was outside.
Yeah,
outside.
he was waiting at the car in the bus.
So it was just so interesting that they decided to bring him in, and I actually found, how Polka Dot Man felt so bad about him, because here's Polka Dot Man. He's a weird character. He's obviously very alone because of his power, his ability. He hates himself for that. He hates his past. He hates so many things. He actually even hopes that he'll be dying because it might end all of the pain that he's experiencing from his power and from his past. But he builds a relationship with these people. He builds a relationship with Milton of all people, and he actually laments his loss to the point that he avenges him. And triggers off the explosions.
The explosion.
Prematurely, but that was a pretty good part of the relationship building. So let's go straight to our likes.
Before we go to the dislikes, I forgot to point this out. I have to say that I love the acting of wait, let me just get it. The guy who was the guy who did the in-shot acting for King Shark.
I'm looking.
I love the little things that he added that made King Shark. How do you call this?
Steve Agee is his name.
Yeah, he was also the guy in the room, the war room, with them. And I love, for example, he was the tech guy. He was the guy.
Oh
who was
right,
asking
yes.
about
Now I can see. Right.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay.
He was the guy who was asking if Waller was serious about
Killing kids.
killing kids.
Yeah.
Right. So and then I don't know. Yeah, the whole thing about King Shark's shorts falling off, and then he would every so often just pull it up.
Yeah.
And then when right before that, the one that triggers the attack on the rebel base, him sneaking up behind that one dude.
Yeah.
And then you could really see that he was trying, as King Shark, he was trying to sneak up behind the dude. He was like, all this kooky things that made King Shark such a lovable character, despite him being this predatory,
Apex
supposedly
Predator character.
Yeah, Apex Predator, who was supposed to be like the son of a shark king,
Shark God
from Hawaii.
He's definitely so much better than Killer Croc was.
Killer Croc, yeah.
So I have actually a question for you guys, and see if you agree or disagree. But there's a lot of parallels being drawn between, since there's a lot of comparisons to how Guardians of the Galaxy look. There's a lot of parallels being drawn to how not parallels, sorry, but they're comparing Groot with King Shark. And so I think it's not exactly very accurate because of how they're quite lovable, sure, but they're lovable in different ways, I guess.
Yeah. They're very different from my perspective. Groot is really like, if you were going to scale Groot and King Shark on a D&D scale, right? Groot would be lawful good. King Shark would not even be lawful or good.
True neutral. He'd be like, what? I'll do whatever I want.
So because he can be swayed either way as long as you feed him.
That's true. And you become friends. He likes friends. He wants friends. Let's go to our dislikes. Shout out, by the way, to Sylvester Stallone for coming up with pretty good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of character in his voice for King Shark.
Yeah. So was Vin Diesel when he played Groot.
Oh, that's true. There's actually a bigger challenge for Vin Diesel.
Yeah. Because he was only saying one specific line, but in different ways.
Exactly. That's acting for you. Let's go straight for our dislikes. So, Paul, start us off. I have absolutely no idea what you wanted to say.
No. So it's
he liked it so much. He does not have any dislikes.
No, that's not true. I was rewatching our video, and he says that he has a lot to say. He couldn't.
There's not a lot, but I just wanted to, because it's blank here because there's no point in saying it back then because it was a spoiler-free episode. Yeah. One of my, I guess it's more of a pet peeve than anything, is they have Peacemaker, Bloodsport, I'm guessing Blackguard, Savant, I think
And
all
Flag.
four and
And
Flag.
Flag.
They're both the same.
They're
Like
all
Their template. of each
exactly.
other.
I feel like they do the same thing.
Yeah.
Only one person would say I do it better. Right. So I wanted before they shot Blackguard's head off, I actually did want each and every character to at least do something. Javelin, I understand if they kill him off without even him throwing the javelin because it's pretty obvious what he does.
Yeah.
But I wanted to see
Yeah,
more of what
what would happen
Blackguard
to him
would do.
after he threw the javelin, right?
You have to
Right,
go there.
exactly. He'd have to
pick it
run,
up.
get it, and then he'd get shot. It would be funny. But then we see TDK doing his thing. We already know what Harley and Rick Flag are capable of. I just wanted to see before they were off. I wanted to see what they were capable
Oh my
of.
gosh!
We got to
just
see
remember
Saban,
Weasel drowned even before he got to blood.
but
Poor guy.
But I
Uh,
checked, like I watched the YouTube video about the history of Weasel. He's actually pretty cool in the comics.
Oh, is he? They made him
Yeah.
such a goofball.
But
Of course,
he-
they made him into a goofball for.
but he's a
for
menace though. He killed kids, like
27
a lot,
kids.
yeah, a lot of kids.
27
Yeah.
children.
Yeah,
So
that would have been
so that's one of my dislikes. Is I wasn't able to see what at least an inkling of what Blackguard does. I assumed it would be the same as Peacemaker, but I would never really know for sure, right? Because he was
Boomerang
off the first thing.
got to throw his boomerang and killed like what 5 people.
Yeah, well, because we already know what Captain Boomerang
Yeah.
can do in the previous Suicide Squad, so that's great.
But he had glowing boomerangs now.
But
He
he had like
glowing.
yeah,
Neon RGB boomerangs.
it was just white. It was a white
It's
boomerang.
very shiny.
Gloomerangs.
Damn. Somebody put that on a shirt.
So that's it. That's my dislike. The other part is I think I mentioned this in the previous one, in the previous video. I'm not sure, but I just in the end of it all, right, when they were facing the big bad, I do not believe they could have taken Starro.
Yes, you did mention this.
I cannot. Yeah,
The power of
I had to
rats.
suspend. I had to suspend logic in order to accept that scene because
to be fair, Polka Dot Man would have been extremely effective
had he not.
had he not been squashed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, but yeah, the whole scene where they off Starro, it's a little bit. It's a big pill to swallow for me because it in the comics it took Justice League together
The
to
main
beat
Justice
Starro.
League characters.
The main, the big guys. And here they just decided, we can have the Suicide
The power
Squad
of rats
beat
and friendship.
Starro.
Yeah. Friendship.
So that's the thing. Apart from that those are my only two dislikes. It's because it's for me it's unbelievable. The way they beat Starro. I guess it can be that this Starro is a different Starro. We Starro probably is like a species in space. So maybe there's a bigger Starro out there. But that's it for me. Those are my dislikes.
For Starro. Actually, we should have put that as a quotable quote. I was happy floating in
Yeah.
space, staring at the
Yeah.
stars.
Yeah.
Watching the stars.
And that was
Called
and
Stars.
that's the only evidence that Peacemaker wanted to protect, right? That video that Starro actually
Was
came from the Americans.
captured by the Americans.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
they were
then
the ones
sent
who were
to
doing that
Porto Maltese
for
for
the experiment.
experimentation.
But
That's
they were
the
very
only
much
secret.
involved.
Yeah. That they wanted to keep. And I guess that's it. Apart from that, it's not a perfect film, but it's a very enjoyable 2 hours. It's a really good popcorn flick.
Definitely didn't get bored.
Yes. Although there's just to finish this, there's one scene that the first thing that popped into my mind when it happened was the first Avengers film. It's where Bloodsport became the leader and started giving orders, and he told King Shark, or is it Polka Dot? He was giving specific orders, and he told King Shark something, and then King Shark just jumped into Starro and started biting.
Nom nom.
Oh,
He said.
It
Kim said,
reminded
nom
me
nom. Yeah.
Of how Captain America said, Hulk
Hulk
smash.
smash.
And
Yep.
then he jumps into the
Yeah,
into the
that's true.
Chitari.
That might have been that. I don't know. I don't know if that was on purpose. That is true. Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
Although you could clearly see how ineffective Nanawi was to star on. It would have taken forever before you could finish eating.
Yeah, that's true.
Before I could bite through.
Joel, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So for me, yeah. So the first thing that I have in the notes is that when it's no, except for one use, I think that the overlay of the text to signify the next chapter was kind of off. It started when Team 2 was revealed, right?
Yes.
Yeah, the twigs on the sand. When that came out, I was like, huh? Okay, so he's gonna use that as a means to signify the next chapter. Oh, so that was pretty okay, but I didn't quite really like it. And then they have the whole thing with the fire and the smoke.
Yes.
Next, next Jotunheim, and then wind blows it away, and then it becomes the smoke becomes next is Harley. Yeah, until they did the part signifying that they were at Jotunheim. That for me was the cool use of that overlay, because it was it wasn't really just flat. It was it was formed by different items and different levels.
It was the shot. It was like
up,
your perspective created the words.
yeah. And then when you pan up, it was actually different items. But yeah, all in all, I didn't see the need for them to do that. Okay, it's an inventive way of doing the whole signifying the location that they were at, or the next chapter, all of that. But for me, it didn't quite work.
Okay.
Yeah, it didn't quite work for me. The next one, although I love the relationship that was formed, I and all, yeah, it showed us that Harley and Flag have this friendship, this as professional as it can be, in a team where one of them can easily die because of a button, and that will blow up their heads. I love the relationships that were formed, but for me, the bonding was a little too fast. In a matter of 24 hours, they became Fast and the Furious family.
That's the power of alcohol.
The power of alpha, yeah. Yeah, because aside from Dubois and Flag, none of them had really worked together before.
That's true.
So it's kind of hard to imagine them
I guess
bonding
you could say that, hey, we're off to our deaths, might as well.
Yeah, they actually did say that to our last night. I think that before they had their first
shot.
The first shot.
And I think the boss is only one.
Yeah.
That is it.
But they ended up partying. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I've never been in that situation where I only had I didn't know if I was gonna live.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Right. So, or I don't know. Maybe that's something that's common with soldiers. Maybe.
Yeah.
In a war. But for me, it was a little too fast, the way that they bonded. And maybe it was also part of Peacemaker trying to waylay everyone into thinking that everything's hunky-dory. That's why he was really very accepting even of the rat of Sebastian.
Oh no, I think that one's actually genuine.
Very sincere.
Yeah, I actually think that was genuine. I tried to rewatch and tried to see if there was any indication that he was
already putting up a front.
Correct. Yeah, I did not see that.
Yeah, he did that sign to rat catcher, right? After he ordered the drink for the rat, he looked at her and then he winked or something.
Yeah.
But I really think that Peacemaker did not know until the very moment that the drive came up, because I don't think he knew that it was going to he needed to do the second part of his mission.
No.
No,
No, I think that
he's
he
probably
knew
been
already.
briefed about it, like
Yeah.
Yeah, he knew
just
his
in
second part.
case.
It's just that
He
if
wasn't
the
hoping that
drive
was
was
gonna
never
happen.
mentioned, he wouldn't have to kill the people involved in trying to bring that drive into light,
If
right? So
the
if
tower was destroyed
yeah,
completely,
if
the
they
plan.
went in, did their thing and went out
Mm-hmm.
without
That's it.
asking so many questions, then he wouldn't have had to kill Flag or
Mm-hmm.
try to kill Ratcatcher. It's more of that's why there's certain sadness at the end, and that's what Arnold mentioned was it will and as you mentioned, it will
Yeah.
reflect to when we see him in his own series when he tries to get
Yeah.
piece things back together, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of things that we can see we can see from there to launch out. I mean, we'll have to we'll find more about himself, or he's gonna be discovering more about himself, and
Mhm.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but yeah, you have to go back to the fact that he's supposedly a champion of the American kind of peace, the American
Yeah.
kind of freedom.
American kind.
He's Murica, right? And then people, well, not to put people in a box, but people who think that way usually are not very forgiving of non-Americans. And the fact
Mm.
that Ratcatcher 2 is not an American makes it dubious for me that he would show that kind of sincerity towards her.
Right. Okay.
Oh,
That's
okay.
fair. And then your last. This.
Oh yeah, my last one is that yeah, save for all of the big names and Ratcatcher 2, who I hope will feature in a lot more movies.
Mm.
They killed everyone else off. Uh,
Well, John
yeah.
Cena is a big name.
but yeah,
He's alive.
he lives.
He lives. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
Except
So
for.
aside,
Except for.
aside from Idris Elba,
Okay.
Margot Robbie, and John Cena,
Oh, I see.
everyone
what you're
else
saying.
dies.
I thought in terms of the character. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. Okay. That's fair.
So yeah, so that's. I mean, Joel Kinnaman is starting to get a name because he now has like a series and a series coming up. But yeah, everyone else. Okay, you're that expendable. You're not just B-list. You're not just B-list characters in the DC universe. You're B-list. You're probably B-list actors as well.
No. Come on, they killed off Lula Borg. They killed off Michael Rooker.
Michael Rooker.
Right? They killed off a lot of big names as well. Whoever was acting as the Weasel probably was killed off.
Oh,
That's
that was
Sean Gunn.
yeah, Sean Gunn.
Oh,
That's
there you
James
go.
Gunn's younger brother.
Younger brother. That's true.
That's Yondu's assistant.
But he didn't die.
He's
Okay.
right. That's
Weasel
true.
didn't
You're
die.
right. So there's a spin-off. There's gonna be a spin-off for Weasel. Watch out for that.
They killed Nathan Fillion.
They killed Nathan Fillion.
But he was in a mask. Nobody would know that he was Nathan Fillion.
And his arms were
I
detached.
completely did not realize that was his power, and all he could really do was slap people in the face, start slapping them. Obviously, and then it took a while for his arms to actually get to wherever he needed to go.
It was as if he was actually walking towards
exactly.
the guy.
So I was like,
Because even the arms were bouncing.
Yeah.
apparently,
I actually-
there was a shot they showed how they did it, and he was actually walking around with his arms.
I actually thought that his arms would explode, then he'd regenerate new arms.
No, he's got only
I
the
don't
one.
think that he was that cool.
He's just essentially like an action figure that you played a little too much.
Yeah.
Because the guy said, I mean, the guy in the control room said, deploy the detachable kid. It's like, whoa, this is amazing. This is gonna be amazing. And then he just slaps the helmets.
Exactly. He's just really annoying. And I think Nathan Fillion actually said that he just really annoys you. That's all he does.
He's supposedly he's a knockoff. He's a knockoff of an actual DC villain
Oh.
Okay.
who actually has those powers.
Right. Okay. My only dislike, it stems off of Joel's last one where they killed everybody else except for the big names. They killed off Polka Dot Man. I actually really wanted him to have a happy ending, and he had it at the end. He had this realization that his purpose in life was actually more than just this experiment, and that it was only he actually enjoyed. He's like, I'm a superhero, and then he dies. Right? Obviously, he dies at least in a better way compared to the rest. He wasn't sacrificed as part of the plan. He actually was supporting all the way until the end, almost until the end, and then before he actually got squashed by Starro. I think Starro realized that he's the one with the most threat, because unlike Blood Bloodsport, who was barely making any damage on him, the polka dots from Polka Dot Man was actually causing him a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
All right, somebody explain to me what his polka dots are made of.
It's outer space. It's an outer space bacteria or something.
Virus.
Yeah, virus.
Okay,
Because his mom worked for Star Labs, I think. She got hold of the virus and she wanted her kids to be superheroes, so he injected the virus into them. She experimented on them.
Okay, yeah, and that was the backstory as well. And he was the only one who survived. But this is what.
Oh, are you talking about the comics?
No, well, either or. It doesn't really.
I don't know what his origin in the comics is.
I was assuming that was the story, because that was the story that he told in the.
Yeah,
I was telling you about what happened
so much
there.
lamer in the comics.
Okay.
So at least they made him look pretty cool in this one. He was pretty much a joke. When I saw him, like, what, really? That's it? That's what he does? He throws polka dots? I wonder, because they never showed what the polka dots did.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is
before the Rebel days.
Yeah,
exactly. And so when I discovered it, wow, he's pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
And then Starro obviously recognized that as well. So I was pretty sad. He had a lot of baggage, and this was his opportunity to get vengeance. I think he actually had closure because he was actually damaging. Everything looked like his mom.
Yeah.
That was a funny detail too that they added, especially during the club scene.
When everybody looked like
she's everywhere.
Literally everywhere. I mean, it's funny, but at the same time, obviously, there are probably people who actually experienced the same thing. It was horrible, and he was actually given that. He was actually given that reprieve, that closure, and unfortunately he died. So that's my main dislike. Let's go to our expectations. I don't know if Paul has any expectations for this.
Well, it's hard. Just basing off news, and they haven't announced anything on the horizon. The only thing that we all know and is very confirmed is Peacemaker spin-off, which is I think is an amazing thing, because I wish even Bloodsport would have a spin-off. Your Ratcatcher 2 or but then that's more of an experimental thing, right? Because they're trying to put more content onto HBO Max that's a little bit more original, instead of backlogs of previous series or movies. So yes, I hope it does well, and it will carry on. Definitely whatever story we had here, it will move into there. And I think after that, in the middle of that, that's when we're going to have any news about a sequel coming out for this. And I hope they do, and I hope James Gunn agrees to helm it. This is by far the most fun DCEU.
I think that's
DC.
I guess you can still say that it's still part of DC.
Because I know Snyder fans don't really like it, so I don't know how to call it. But
really?
This is by far the most fun.
Shazam was pretty good. That was pretty
good. I like Shazam, but I mean, if I compare this to Shazam, I like this more than Shazam. Okay. For me, that's teaser for me. And I want this to be a continuing trend. So if James Gunn is the man to help to put it all together, then I hope Warner Brothers gives him more projects to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Joel.
Yeah, well, a little bit similar to what Paul was saying. These are not just expectations but theories. Because that's me. I'm Mr. Theory.
Yes. Give us, come up with your
Conspiracy and
weirdest,
not.
with your weirdest
So yeah, so
reach for
I
this time.
I do think that that Marvel has a strong grasp uh, on making live action movies for now, and they have their own brand. It's because they're part of Disney, so there's a certain level of uh, yeah, there's a certain limit, like what Paul said. There's a limit that you can get to. You can't get past it. There are no such limits when it comes to Warner Brothers. I think. I hope.
Well, this one
So
sets
yeah,
a precedent, so that is now
yeah,
consideration.
yeah. So I do hope that moving forward, Warner Brothers sees this as their brand of movies that they should be making. Not necessarily the Marvelized funny, but really to make it not gloomy and gritty too much like the Snyder movies,
No, not all
but R-rated.
grim dark and all that.
Yeah, R-rated. Don't really care about making it into family movies or
Right.
movies that you can watch with your kids. But yeah, really, a lot of the things that happen in comic books, they're really gory.
Yeah.
So they really push that.
Yeah.
Make that your brand. Make that your brand. Make Batman like break legs. Break. Yeah.
I thought you don't want grim dark.
No, not grim, dark, muted colors.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay,
But not to. But yeah, not because Marvel already has that other style down pat.
The
They already have
stylized.
formula. They already have everything out on that. So I hope that that Warner Brothers makes this their style.
Right.
Not being afraid of blood, not being afraid of gore.
Pushing boundaries.
Yeah, pushing the boundaries. And I think that James Gunn is the right person. They have declared it that James Gunn is the guy who makes the kind of movies that they want. That they want to produce, and they have an open invitation for James Gunn to come back and direct even more movies for Suicide Squad. For Suicide Squad for Warner Brothers. And I do, and now we go into the theory realm of my expectations. I do hope James Gunn comes back for another Suicide Squad, and I do think that because there was a throwaway character in this movie, Mongal, whose lineage is actually very dangerous, very
It's
powerful,
and very extremely orange.
yeah, very extremely orange.
Is it? Is he orange?
Yes, he is.
Well, she
Okay.
looked
And
orange.
he wears
in the
purple.
movie.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, he's orange. He doesn't have a toupee like the previous president of the United States. But yeah, he's orange. So yeah, because Mongal is related to Mongol, who is a very powerful villain in the DC universe. I theorize that the death of Mongal in this movie will open up the idea of Mongol heading to Earth in search of the people who killed his daughter. I'm
Okay.
not quite sure. His
I don't know the
daughter.
relationship.
Yeah, daughter or niece or sister or whatever.
Not even
His
familiar with
kin.
who Mongol is. But
So yeah, and then
Cool.
Mongol is a very powerful super villain who is a rival of Superman actually.
Superman. Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay,
they're at that level.
that level.
He's at that level. So if you have that big baddie coming in, if they're not able to bring in Darkseid, bring in Mongol. That's fine. Have him battle Henry
Wasn't he
Cavill.
already in the Snyder Cut?
No, but he hasn't battled the Justice League.
Gotcha.
Right? We haven't seen the Omega Beam.
No.
Only in that small clip, right? In that small portion, that small sequence. But
Yep.
yeah, bring in Mongol, make it into a battle world. I think
Battle world.
that's
I
his
think
world.
it's Battle World. War World?
War
It
World. I think.
might be World World. War World.
One of those things because that's what Mongol is known for. Yeah, so have that destroy the Earth. Make more R-rated movies.
Go push that R-rated. I think they are willing to, and they've been experimenting with that. I'm not sure if it was Warner Brothers who did Joker, but that's also a type of storytelling that is different from Marvel's storytelling. But I think we pointed this out before. That one of the strengths of MCU, the DC movies is that they are standalone. They're not the standalone ones seem to fare a lot better in terms of I guess critical and fan
Box office
approval. Yes, it's because they don't seem to be weighed down by following the canon that's been established by previous movies. I don't know if that's still true. Suicide Squad currently being a one-off title seems to fit very much into that mold. But I do agree. I really want to see more of that. We are seeing Morbius, I think, next. I don't know when that's gonna happen.
But he's a Marvel character.
Oh, sorry, not Morbius. What do you call this? Oh, you're right. Okay, that's a different story.
You're talking about Jared Leto.
I was just thinking because he was Jared
jumping
Leto.
from Joker to Morbius.
From Morbius. He did reprise his Joker. His Joker
for the Snyder Cut.
Snyder Cut. So he's still very much Joker, the current Joker, because I don't think Joaquin Phoenix's version is part of the Snyderverse.
Yep.
So I was about to comment on this, saying that my only expectation was it'll be fun to see what Peacemaker's spin-off will be. He's been very essentially this movie.
It's not a movie. It's a series.
Spin-off
TV
series. Sorry, yes, spin-off series. This movie has actually been this movie, as in the Suicide Squad, it has been pretty much big marketing for the Peacemaker because he's been taking advantage of it.
It's big marketing for him.
His big, loud collars, the toilet seat on his head,
The tidy whities.
The tidy whities, for goodness sake. That the camera, whatever reason, just decides to focus on. Very hard to look away. You have no choice. It's just focused on
It's just there. It's like Dr. Manhattan, but not virtual.
But not virtual, no. So he's really, and then obviously outside of the film, he's been really, really leaning in on the characterization, establishing this guy that he is Peacemaker, and that we don't forget, because I don't know when the spin-off is actually gonna start airing, but it ought to be fairly soon, because he'd want to take advantage of the goodwill that's been established by this movie. But I also wanted to I think one of the things that I forgot what I was about to say when Joel was mentioning that we wanted to see more, we wanted to see Warner Brothers not be scared and push the boundaries. There was one particular title that flashed in my mind. I wasn't able to write it down. If I remember it, I will shout it out. But yeah, that the Peacemaker spin-off was pretty much all that I could think of. Who was just correct me if I'm wrong with this one, but is this a DC character? Who was the guy who's he's in a motorcycle and travels through space?
Oh yeah,
Lobo. He looks like Kiss. Is he a DC?
He's
character?
a DC character.
DC character. Yeah.
You can. That seems like funny and gory at the same time because of his character.
The main man.
Yeah, and he's as strong as Superman.
Yeah, and he regenerates.
And he's a bounty hunter. He's like Wolverine and Superman together.
There you go. He has claws.
He doesn't have claws. He has a chain. He has a chain.
Yeah. So he's got Ghost Rider along with him as well.
He would have. You know who would have been perfectly cast as Lobo?
Who's that?
Momoa would have been the perfect.
Momoa,
yeah, you're right. You're right. He's got the girth. He's a huge guy, isn't he? Lobo.
Yeah. And the way he talks.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
My man.
And that's really how he talks.
Yeah.
It's really Jason Momoa.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a bit sad because now he can't really. He's now.
Well, he might go the way of
Arthur
Chris
Chris
Evans.
Evans.
But you'd have to like let it like rest for a couple
He's
of
already got
for a
2
decade or
movies in the
something.
Snyderverse. He's got the Aquaman movie as well.
Yeah.
You can't
And
miss
Aquaman
that.
2.
Yeah.
Is there? Oh.
It's coming, yeah.
It's
Aquaman 2.
coming. That's what
Yeah.
you're saying. Okay, so yeah, I was just thinking Lobo would be an interesting next movie to actually if James Gunn decides to, James Gunn. If you're
Yeah,
watching
you can
this,
bring in like you
that's
know you
actually
can
a
bring
good
in
idea.
Hemi to do Lobo. Yeah,
Who?
Hemi.
Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah,
Wow.
Thor to Lobo, right?
Yeah.
Aussie accent.
So according to this, Peacemaker is set to premiere January 2022.
Oh wow, that's like 5 months away, 4 months away. Wow. Okay. Hopefully it'll work out. I guess that's it. Is there anything else you guys wanna share?
Oh yeah, the quotable quotes. You got a couple of quotable quotes
From this movie. Yes. Go ahead.
in this movie. Yeah. One of the most quotable quotes, aside from I did it. I'm a hero by Polka Dot Man. Right before he got squished. You have, of course, the very quotable quote from Peacemaker. I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
Yes.
He encapsulates his character. He's America through and through.
Yes.
Yeah, and of course the most quotable quote from this, and I think this is the most memorable quote that a lot of people got from this movie, and it really, I think, it encapsulates the theme of the entire movie. It was spoken by a cameo by
Ratcatcher
Taika
1.
Waititi.
Ratcatcher 1.
Ratcatcher 1 by Taika Waititi. Rats are the most despised of all creatures, but they have their purpose, as do we all. Such memorable words that I think we can all live by. Even if we're not rats, we do all have our purpose.
Yeah.
And, we can be despised in certain.
Our
things.
can you say our glorious purpose?
Our
that can be our glorious
purpose.
Purpose.
That'll be a good marketing for us. And indeed, in this movie, it's rats that actually take care of Starro.
Yep.
As you believe it. Swimming in his eye.
Yep.
As glorious, as horrible as that sounds. And with that will be that is it for our full reacts episode and our discussion about the Suicide Squad. This seems to be a one and done deal, as we've already mentioned, so it's highly unlikely we'll see more of James Gunn's work on other DC titles, but who knows? We are hoping for it.
Yep.
Weirder things have happened. The Suicide Squad is currently in cinemas and streaming on HBO Max until the end of this month, if I'm not mistaken. Right? The
It's
31st?
Is it 45 days or 30 days?
Maybe a bit more, but it's not. It's only a limited time release.
It is, yeah. Yep.
Thank
It's not
you
gonna be there forever.
again to Paul and Joel for joining me to share our thoughts, impressions, and theories. As always, dear audience, we hope you tune in to the next episode and continue to hang out with us. Till then.